one of the really interesting things that's happening in Europe is this incredible challenge of cars coming here from China. Generally smaller, cheaper, with longer range, with really advanced battery technology. And the one company that I think is coming up with a real genuine response to that challenge is Renault. And this is the Renault 4, just released, really interesting car. As you can see, a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, a lot bigger than the original Renault 4, which I'll mention in a moment. But some really interesting features and just a proper, compact, useful car. I'm really excited about it. So that there is the new Renault 4 E-Tech, and this is the Fully Charged Show. So the basics of this car, it runs on Renault's Ampere platform. So it's the same platform that they use in different cars, different sizes. This is very similar to the one in the Renault 5, the newly released Renault 5. It has 18-inch wheels as standard, as you can see, and they're kind of pushed out to the corners of the car, which is kind of what you need with electric cars. It makes it so much easier. It's 1.57 meters high, so 5 and a bit feet. What I think was interesting, it's got a turning circle of 10.8 meters, which is 32 feet, which is actually really good. And it means it's easier to park. It's as simple as that, really good stuff. I mean, the 0 to 62, it's not relevant, but it does it in about 8.5 seconds. It has 2 battery sizes. A standard one is 40 kilowatt hours and 52 kilowatt hours, and that gives you a range of between 300 kilometers and 400 kilometers, or 180 miles or 240 miles, roughly. It's got the charge flap on this side, which I think is good, because that means you can use a Tesla supercharger, even though it's slightly annoyingly in the wrong position. But not to say anything, but you can use Tesla superchargers now all over France. Really easy, I've done it. These little features here are reminiscent of a design feature in the original Renault 4. This rear window as well there, that is very similar in a way. I really like the back of this car. I think it's really interesting. And there's an interesting feature on all 4 corners, the front and the back, is these little bits here are little tough replaceable corners, because in France, if you've ever driven here, one of the things people like to do is park really close and bash into the other cars when they're driving out. It's just a French thing. It's not good or bad. I'm not giving it any value judgment, but what you can do is replace the corner quite cheaply. You don't have to replace the whole bumper. If it's scratched or bumped, that little bit there is very, very tough, and you can replace it. Here is I love the look of the back. The original Renault 4 did not do this. That's 420 litres of boot space, and actually, when you look at it, that is really big for a car this small. That's very impressive. So one of the things I think is really interesting and kind of maintains my interest in electric cars is the speed and the rapidity of the development of the technology. Go back 10 years and a battery pack this size would have a maximum capacity of maybe 24, maybe 30 kilowatt hours. This is between 40 and 52 kilowatt hours, can fit in this space here. Exactly the same space for both sides, it's just the way the battery packs are laid out. Really critically important thing here, which all the fire services know about, is that there, that little black thing. If in the event of a really bad crash, you get the people out of the car. If there is a battery fire, and there isn't always battery fires, even though people go on and on about battery fires, they're still very rare. But if there is, it's critically important to be able to put it out. What that does is remove all the oxygen around the battery pack and fill it with water. That puts the fire out really, really fast. They've thought about this in the design. They've built a system that allows the battery pack to be flooded with water with no oxygen, stops the fire burning. That is really important. But here's another thing. This is the AC/DC inverter and charge system for the electric drive, both in the Renault 5 and the new Renault 4. What has it got built in from the get-go? Vehicle to load, vehicle to your house. When you plug this car in, the electricity can go either way. And that is built in, and this is going to be a more and more common feature with cars. This is something that is really going to transform the whole electric vehicle field, is having that just as a standard thing, so that you plug your car in at night in your house. You might have something running in the house that uses electricity. For the early part of the evening, the car takes over, takes that load off the grid. Then later at night, when there's less demand, the car charges at its own thing. Then when you're having your breakfast, that might be cooked from energy from the car. Then you've got enough range to drive. It's something that will be integrated into your life in a way that we can't really imagine just yet. So the interior is very, very usable, simple, easy to understand straight away. Things I really love about it, it's got Google Maps built in as standard. It has their own system, which I've used in other Renaults, which is their OpenR Link system, which is just very simple and intuitive to use. There is quite a lot of buttons on the steering wheel, but what I'm really intrigued to find out more about is there is the multi-sense button that it's basically, you set it up before you drive, which is really critical, and we often don't have time to do that. And then you've got one button that disables all the things you don't want to do. Not disables them, just stops them cluttering your screen. So you've got your sat nav, your air conditioning, your music, or whatever it is, and you can reduce or increase the number of those things, and you can have that setting where you just press one button and all the things you don't want disappear, which is kind of useful. That's a really good system. Very, very clear dash, range there, all those sort of things, really useful. USB 2s there, lots of storage, lots of little places to put things. Buttons for heating. Actual buttons, not on the touchscreen. So that's a big plus. Comfy, lovely seats. What more can you ask for? Now, it's not often we actually refer back to previous versions of a particular vehicle, but I think it's worth mentioning this. This is the old Renault 4. This was made between 1961 right up to 1992. They sold 8 million of them worldwide. These were so common. You just see these all over the roads in Europe and in the UK. There were loads of them there. And specifically, one of those cars was owned by my mother. And when I was 21, I did my driving test in 1977 in a Renault 4, and I failed. The first time, but the second time I passed, and it was a great moment for me. And if my mum allowed me to drive this car, then I really enjoyed it. I mean, they were very ubiquitous. They're super standard. They're stripped down to nothing. There's no extra bits of fiddly stuff on them. They're really, really basic. By today's safety standards, they're pretty lethal, but really popular cars. And I think really interestingly, they're one of the first cars that were directly and consciously marketed towards women as well as men. Because before that, cars were always sort of men want to buy the car and it's a big, powerful car and all that nonsense. The French don't do that. And there's just a few things I love about it. The gear stick is like a kind of your granddad's walking stick that comes out of a wall, and it just is right in the fascia. It's not down low. It's not on the steering column. It's this weird, very unique thing for Renault. The windows, the way the windows open, very, very unique. Super simple, great little car. Now, there was one thing I remember very fondly from the original Renault 4, and that was the canvas roof. Had this really simple system, and it was just canvas. I've never seen any other car with a canvas roof. Glass roofs that open, yeah, whatever. This has got a folding back canvas roof. Watch this. That's nice. I like that. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. This has been one of the most rushed shoots we've ever done of any car, but we've done it. Please do subscribe. Please tell your mates about it. This is the beautiful Renault 4. We'll see you soon. If you have been, thank you for watching.